I am having surgery today. You all have probably noticed I haven't uploaded a lot this year, and the main reason for that, of course, has been the band that I've joined, and you've seen several videos of that, and that has been more than a blessing. But there's another reason to that, and this has been a long-standing reason. Long story short, I've had a lot of issues with my sinuses, particularly this side, over the last 3 or so years. It seems to have been spurred by a sinus infection I had in October of 2019. Now, I've mentioned I haven't really truly lost my voice since January 2020 when I got the nodule diagnosis and I started to heal. Now, these sinus issues don't cause me to lose my voice, but they can cause a few sort of quirks. The resonance isn't as good. There's a little bit of a buzzing sound behind it. I have to clear my throat a lot. It causes a bit of an inconsistency, and that's a big reason why recording things is so difficult. I've mentioned my frustrations with making covers for the channel in the past, and that is a big reason for it. It seems like every time I have an opportunity to go and record, that's when the sinus issues act up, and so I can't get any takes that I'm happy with, and I have to go over and over and over on takes just to get something I'm okay with to post. I brought this up to my ENT several times, and they did a very sort of general look, and they just said, it's probably allergies, you need to get allergy testing. But knowing myself, I knew it wasn't allergies. I knew there was something else going on because I know what it's like when I have allergies, right? So I continuously asked, and they never really looked much beyond that. Earlier this year, I went to a new ENT, and he took a closer look, and he found that there was pus lingering in my sinuses. That was evidence of a lingering sinus infection from, he said, a few months, but I haven't had a sinus infection since that one in October of 2019, so I'm guessing it had to be from that. He gave me an antibiotic, and that actually did clear up a lot of the pain issues, and things did get a little more consistent for a while. But then in June of this year, I got COVID. Now, I haven't had any sort of legitimate illness since October 2019, except for when I got COVID in September 2020, but that was very mild. This time, not so much. I isolated and recovered. Things seemed to be okay afterward, but then maybe 3-ish, 4-ish days after getting my negative test, I woke up with pink eye. With the pink eye came a hoarse voice, and now COVID and this pink eye within 2 weeks were the first times I'd legitimately lost my voice in almost, I think it was 2.5 years. And I have a great story about the day I woke up with pink eye because we had a gig that day and I woke up with a hoarse voice. It was a very interesting day. I'm gonna try and make a video about it soon. Anyway, the pink eye clears up, but I start to notice a little bit of the sinus inconsistency thing starting to creep back in. And then, sure enough, a couple of weeks after that, I developed bronchitis. And this was even more intense than the pink eye. I remind you, by the way, that I haven't gotten sick other than COVID in like 2.5 years. So getting this kind of illness twice in the span of a month after COVID really messed up my immune system. I also have lost I want to say between 12 and 14 pounds since then, which is a little alarming, but I had this thick cough and my sinuses, this is the worst I've ever seen my sinuses. I would irrigate using like a neti pot type thing. And out of this side, it's always this side that gets it the worst. Just, this is kind of gross. Brown sludge constantly for like a week. The color changed, but there was just all this drainage. I never have I seen that before. I've been, since I joined the band, doing that neti pot thing regularly. Never seen this before, ever. Now, a few weeks ago, I took a trip home, and while I was there, I decided to make an appointment with an ENT there because I was really tired of the ENTs up here just constantly telling me, get allergy testing. Even the guy in February who saw the lingering pus, he suggested allergy testing too, and I was really getting sick of it. So I went to this new guy because I thought I can finally explain these things to a new set of ears and maybe they'll listen and actually take a close look. The first thing that happens when I go in is that they take an x-ray, and I've never had an ENT do that. They took an x-ray of my sinuses. When the doctor came in, he did let me explain the history of my sinus issues, starting with that infection in October 2019. And every now and then he would come in with a comment saying, yeah, when you see the x-rays, that's gonna make a lot more sense. Right down to the pink eye. When I told him about the pink eye, he asked if it was on this side. And he also said, when I see the x-ray, that's going to make a lot of sense. So I finally shut up, and it's time for him to show me the x-ray. Now, the first thing he does is he shows me an x-ray of what a normal sinus cavity is supposed to look like, which you can see on the screen here. Again, this whole time, I knew I was being geared up for something pretty insane, but I would have never expected this that I'm about to show you here. Here's what my sinus cavities looked like. Notice anything funny there? The side that always gave me problems, this side completely blocked and filled up. You know, no space in there whatsoever. He said that they should keep my x-ray on file as like an example of really screwed up sinuses. So the procedure I'm going in for is called a balloon sinuplasty. Now I'm not really going to be very good at explaining this, so I'm going to put a video on the screen showing it. But basically they're going to go in with an instrument that will go into my sinus passage, and the instrument has a little thing that inflates on the end of it. It's going to inflate for 3 seconds, force open that sinus cavity, and then they're going to irrigate the sinus cavity, and then that's the procedure. I forgot to add that the goal of this is to fix the sinus cavity so that it is permanently opened back up and can restore proper drainage to the sinus cavity to avoid issues like this happening again. I had seen a poster for this procedure way back in January 2020, and I had asked the doctor about it, and he kind of like didn't really put much stock into it. So this whole time I was beaming. I was so happy because I finally got the answer I wanted, finally had a doctor take it seriously, and it's finally going to get taken care of. He explained that because of that, I've probably been experiencing constant post-nasal drip sort of effects for a long time, which would explain some of my inconsistencies. So he said I won't necessarily notice a difference in vocal timbre or range, but there will probably be a noticeable difference in vocal consistency. He said something like, I'm going to be sitting there one day and then I'm going to realize, hey, I haven't really had any vocal issues in a while. So that is very exciting. And the procedure is minimally invasive, and at the time I was more ecstatic than anything else. Then I did that thing you're not supposed to do where you go and look up people's stories about having the procedure done. And that made me a bit uncomfortable. So I would naturally be nervous anyway, but now I'm getting really uncomfortable. So yeah, a bit of an anxious couple of days coming up. So I'm very nervous, but you know, I'm excited to be able to see what it's like to be able to breathe properly out of both sides. And I'm excited to see the effect it has on my voice, because it's either going to be no real change or a positive change. And hey, hopefully this will help me be able to start making more recordings for the channel again. So yeah, that's that. I just wanted to let you guys know. I'm hoping to make a video about my work with the band, maybe show you guys more highlights. And I'm hoping to make a video talking about the incident when I got pink eye and the gig that happened that day. So yeah, we'll see whenever that happens. Yeah, so let you guys know how it goes. Thanks for continuing to support and watch me.